I wanted to make a bit more of a retrospective video this time. A few years ago, I felt completely lost. It seemed like everyone around me just had a plan, and for some reason I didn't. Whether that was going to university and then doing a gap year, or seemingly just going straight into work knowing exactly what they wanted to do, I wasn't one of those people. I felt like I was behind, and to be honest, I didn't know if and when I'd ever figure out what I actually wanted to do and who I wanted to become. It's not that I didn't care, I just genuinely didn't know. And clearly, I wasn't the only person that felt like that in their early 20s. This video isn't some polished advice piece or anything. I just wanted to reflect on this topic and talk about what helped me move forward. And so if someone is going through this moment of uncertainty in their life, hopefully this video can help. One of the key things I've realized in my early 20s is that not choosing is still a choice. You can just drift through life and hope that things will pick up and get better, but to be honest, time is moving forward either way, and I believe that's where a lot of us get stuck. And I certainly did. When you don't know what you want to do, instead of picking a direction, a lot of the time, we just kind of freeze and stay still, almost waiting for an answer to come along and save us. Nowadays, I think a lot of us are blessed with so many choices. The second you hop online, you see what everyone else is doing, and you do end up in a little bit of a paradox of choice if you're not sure what you want to do with your life. There's so much you could do, so how do you know what to pick? Well, the answer for me, in the end, is actually quite simple. I think the trick is to find the thing that you enjoy the most and basically run with it. And that doesn't mean you love it 100% of the time. It doesn't even mean you enjoy it 50% of the time. Whatever it is that you enjoy the most in life at that moment, take it and run with it 100%. I can use my career and my experience as an example. I kind of landed in video, to be honest. I attempted university, that didn't work out. I tried an apprenticeship, that didn't work out. I tried working in fitness, that didn't work out. Then I went into social media, and then somehow I ended up in video. And although I enjoyed parts of it, there are other parts I didn't enjoy so much. But at the time, it was the only thing I had, and I decided to run with it. And now, looking at how far it's taken me, I'm so pleased I did. I decided to stick with it, and it's taken me on some crazy adventures. I've met some amazing people, and it's a career that I'm really enjoying. Again, it's not every day that I wake up and I'm excited to do video. And there are some days, quite frankly, where I don't want to do it. But overall, it's been a path that I've been really happy I chose. And the thing is, if I'd followed the advice of follow your dreams and your true passions, I would have been screwed, because the reality is I never had a dream, I never had a passion that I was obsessed with. And that advice is great if you know what you want to do, but it doesn't work for everyone. As I've got older, I've realized that most of my fulfillment has come from doing, not just dreaming about what I could be doing. I've found a lot of meaning in learning and improving my skills, especially over time. And to be honest, once I realized that, it actually began to feel like I was building something. And that's when life began to take shape. Now, just to be clear, I'm not saying you should stay somewhere that makes you feel miserable. You know, there's a big difference between something that's hard and something that's just not right for you. And like a lot of people, I've had those jobs that you just dread going into work every day. And to be honest, unless you have to because you've got certain responsibilities or something, you definitely shouldn't put up with that for the long term. But like I'm saying, what I've also learned is it's quite easy to quit too soon just because something feels a bit uncomfortable. There is another way at looking at all of this that helped me out, especially later on. There's a quote I heard on Chris Williamson's podcast between Chris and Alex Hormozi that really stuck with me, which said,
"There's no perfect way to live your 20s. You either live them up and become an underskilled 30-year-old, or you work them up and become an underlived 30-year-old. You just have to figure out which you'd rather be, accept the trade-offs, and know that there are no do-overs."
I really like that quote. You know, you either spend your early 20s figuring out what you want to do for work, who you want to be, learning, trying things, and failing, or you spend it enjoying yourself. like I say, if you do neither, you will likely end up drifting. And I realize everyone's path is different, but either way, you can't end up waiting for the perfect path to just show up. And that brings me on to what Alex says next. He then goes on to talk about how most people in his experience end up better off working up in their 20s than living up in their 20s. And to be honest, I couldn't agree more.
There are more people that I have met in my life who are dissatisfied by their live it up 20s than dissatisfied by their work it up 20s. Because most of the time in your 20s, you have no idea what you want. But knowing what you need to do to work and move ahead is fairly straightforward. And so you can take the known and make progress on the one that you have high confidence that you can make progress on. And then along the way, gain perspective on what are the things that are actually important to you in your life. And you may find out often that there are far fewer of those things than you really originally thought, because what you thought live 'em up in your 20s was actually your mom and your two homies who are both mediocre, and you don't care about their opinion now when you're 30 anyways. But what a waste of a life it would have been to, quote, live up your mom's dream or your friend's dreams, to then only get to your 30s and realize you didn't live it up and you also didn't work it up. And now you have neither.
All I knew back then was that all I could do was work hard and hope that eventually I'd figure things out. In the end, that's exactly what happened. Don't get me wrong, I'm not suggesting that you just grind in your 20s and don't have a life and a family. I think finding a balance is incredibly important, and in fact, as I've got older, I found that to be more and more true. Even the simple things in life, like spending time with my missus and the dog, going on a walk, or watching a film with my parents on a Sunday, has become a lot more important to me as I've got older. And I do believe there is a time to grind, especially in your early 20s, but please don't neglect the people around you, because you just never know. This video isn't here to tell you what to do, it's just a snapshot of where I'm at, to be honest. And maybe, hopefully, something within this video connects with you and where you're at. And so if I was to sum up this video, the point of it is that you don't have to know everything, but you do have to pick something and just keep going. Hopefully this video has been helpful for some of you. If you've been through a journey like me, I'd love to hear it. And if you've got any questions below, please let me know. Hopefully this video will help someone out. So until next time, take care.